I'm back at you with another quick hit. I want to give all honors and praises and glory belongs to Yahweh by Sham Yahweh Shai. Yeah, this is a very serious lesson, but I don't want to prolong it for too long. All right. And there needs to be an investigation. Baba Kasha, there needs to be an investigation concerning, right? Concerning an open investigation concerning our targeting. There needs to be. This needs to get done. And I'm not going to go into too much. I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's not for me to go into too much detail. But we know these things go on. We know these things happen. We know people that get what's the word? They get put on lists, whether it's a list, blacklist, this list, that list. They get put on things and they get labeled a certain way. Maybe for the way they conduct themselves, or they may look a bit suspicious. So we know these things do happen. But there's another side to it. There's people that put you on programs because they're scared of certain things, or they may not like you, or out of envy. So those that are watching, and everybody should know, well, not everybody, most people should know what's going on. If they see particular things and you have a whole city, if you have a whole town, not city, a whole town, and the whole town is coming up against you, and once you go somewhere, they're all looking at their phone, then that's a problem. That's serious. That's someone's life that could be in danger. Not to push fair, because be fair, you have a shot. But these things are going on, so who's doing this? And we're going to go to it. And I wouldn't class myself as a dissident, a terrorist, none of those things. I'm a man that teaches the Bible, and in my spare time, I like to keep myself to myself, and I'm a very peaceable brother. Right? So I want to go into this Baba Kasha, because it's a program. And who has the power to move people around? And when you look at that word government, what does government mean? Government means I forgot what that word government. When you're governing what? People and their minds. There's another word, I forgot what the word for is, but you're governing what? People. So when you see people having to get out of their houses, right? When you come around, or step out of their cars, or look at you a certain way, or they look at their phones, who has the power to control that? It's those in parliament, right? It's those in power, because they're the ones in power ultimately. Okay, we're gonna get straight to it, because now this needs to be investigated. Because bro, this, I'm not gonna say it shouldn't be happening, because everything is of the Lord anyway. But this shouldn't be happening, right? Unless you're a proper threat. Unless you're a threat. Now we know the men of Lord, they're a so-called threat to the kingdom of darkness, but we're not out here causing any harm. I'm not out here causing any harm to anyone. But you have criminals that are perpetrating these crimes. They're the ones that should be locked up. We're going to get to this, Baba Kasha. I want to go to Matthews, right? I would say I am, what's the word? I'm a law-abiding citizen, right? And it says, Baba Kasha, and I conduct myself in that manner as well. Okay? If you want to know who put you on this program, it was someone in Parliament, right? It was someone in Parliament, because your next door neighbor never had the power. Your next door neighbor doesn't have the power to do that. Your friend that you were growing up with, they don't have the power to do that. They have power to report you, but not to actually orchestrate everything that's being orchestrated. Okay? Now the same people that put you on it, they have the power to take you off that. They have the power. But if they take you off this program, then the people won't receive their funding anymore. The criminals in the underworld, they're not going to receive their funding anymore. Remember, they need to bring forth false threats. We're going to go to Matthews. Right? This is Matthew 22. Right? And we know there's a lot of dirty money involved as well. And it could get so serious. Bro, if you're a targeted individual, you can't just be everywhere, be around everyone. Because there's a price on your head. There's a price on your head. In the spiritual realm. Because remember, people are getting paid to do things to you. right? Getting paid. Whether it's a homeless person, it's people with low integrity, low integrity and no morals, right? So our lives are basically on the line. This is how serious this is. This is not a joke, right? And there needs to be a thorough investigation into, yeah, and I'll say this as well, there needs to be a thorough investigation into what I'm doing, because I've been investigated for a long time. So you should be able to look at me for 11, 10 years, look, and say, look, this individual, he's not doing anything wrong. Someone needs to take accountability. Don't worry about the Gaza. Well, that's an important topic. Don't worry about the Gaza. You better worry about the citizens that you're waging war in your own country. That's what they're not going to tell you, because guess what? The last thing a politician or anyone in power wants you to believe that there's corruption. That's the last thing they want. Last thing. Because then your trust goes out the window. Right? But then there needs to be an open investigation on what's going on with me and other fellow so-called targeted individuals. And why is it happening? Because the person that put you on it, they have the power to take you off it. Right? And yeah, the police are involved as well. Let's go to Matthews. And I'm not against police at all, because police really doing their job. Right? But you have to train them up properly. This is Matthew 22. We're going to get straight to it. So I'm talking too much. And 15. Then went the Pharisees and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk. Bro, this is more deeper than you think. Brothers and sisters and people that are watching on the outside, you really don't know what's going on. This is very political. Now, I was involved with certain people, right, within a so-called political structure, right? Pharisees, chief priests, part of a political structure, right? And took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk. So if they took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk, they were trying to trip him up in what he was saying, right? And it says, Baba Kishar, and they sent out to him their disciples with the Herodians. The Herodians were working under Herod. What's it? Herod Antipater, right? So-called king of the Jews. Saying, Master, we know that thou art true and teach us the way of God in truth. Neither carest thou for any man, for no regard is for the person of men. So they knew Yahushua was straightforward, very decisive when he would speak. And I got news for you as well. You probably don't know this as well. Most of the politicians today, they were your your Pontius Pilates and so forth. They were people of great power and influence. A politician ain't just anyone. They have power to call certain shots. Okay? It was the same thing in the Roman Empire. There was a different name. You had plebeians, you had, I forgot all the names, right? Okay, you had the lower working class, you had the higher working class. A lot of those politicians are the Roman senates that were back then. And the governors that were back then. Okay? Nothing is new underneath the sun. There's another word for it, but I forgot what they were. Right? And they had control of certain provinces. Right? You gotta, bro, this is all political. Even the situation I'm in, that's political. Look at what happened to the Messiah. People better start paying attention. And he says, neither carest thou for any man in regard as persons of men. Verse 17, tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? There was a reason why this was asked. Caesar, at that time, was in Rome. Right? At that time. You should know who Caesar is as well, right? Okay. Roman. Well, he was an Edomite, but he called himself a Roman. Right? You had Roman governors. Modern day, today, that would be your politicians that make decisions concerning you. Okay? That's the higher courts. There's different courts. And it says, Baba Kishar, tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? So they were trying to trip him up in his words. But Yahushua perceived their wickedness and said, "Why tempt me, ye hypocrites?" Because they were very crafty. "Show me the tribute money." And they brought unto him a penny, right? And the penny, whoever was ruling at that time, it would have the image of this inscription upon there. So Caesar was ruling, so that was self-explanatory. Okay. And it says, "Show me the tribute." And they brought unto him a penny, and he saith unto him, "Whose image is this inscription?" And they said unto him, "Caesar's." Then saith he unto them, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto the heavenly Father the things which are the heavenly Father. So very, very wise wisdom. You give unto Caesar. So in today's terms, you give unto the politicians, right, the ones that are over you, what belongs to them. Tribute, taxes, you pay your bills. I'm just dealing with something right now where the bills have gone up now, right? All those things. Okay, so that's what you're gonna have to do, right? Give tribute to who tribute is due, because we're still underneath what? When you're under tribute, that means you're in another man's kingdom, right? Someone owns you. You have a birth certificate. Someone owns you, right? That means you're property of the elites, of the bankers that we know call the shots. Right, and your politicians, we know, I've told you about the parliamentary and all that. All that is, that's they play both sides, controlled opposition, all that stuff there, right? They act like they're against each other. Really, they're all for the same common cause, but you still obey the powers that be, which we're gonna go into, right? And may say unto him, "Caesar's." When they had heard these words, they marveled and left him and went their way. Why did they marvel? Because of such wisdom that was applied. See, it's about using wisdom, right? Wisdom. Now, why was that question asked? What was the whole MO? For him to say, "No, don't give unto Caesar nothing." Therefore, there would have been a riot, because you had zealots at that time as well that were trying to rise up against the Roman Empire. No, they're the type of people that are supposed to be investigated. Because I do understand as well why there would be an investigation, because you got to see it from the perspectives of the world. Well, why is he doing this? What's he looking to gain? Is he trying to overthrow? You got to look at it from the perspective of the world as well. What's he trying to do? Is he trying to overthrow the government? No. The zealots were trying to do that. I don't consider myself a zealot. I say I'm a Hebrew that has faith in the Messiah, Yahushua. I'm not seeking to overthrow any government. Okay? So that's why that was asked to Yahushua, because if he said yes, they would have done that. There would have been riots and overthrown of government, but then they would have blamed it on the Messiah and said, "Look, it was the Messiah that caused it." You see? This is why we got to be wise. Wise. Okay? And now we're going to go to Romans 13. "Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers." Every soul. Now, there's certain restrictions in terms of you're a faithful man, you believe in the Messiah, so there's certain things that you're not going to do, right? If someone says, "Get down, kiss the floor, lick the floor," you're not going to do that, are you? But there's certain, we're under an empire. This is an empire, so there's certain rules that we have to abide by, right? You don't want to be useless now, do you? "For there is no power but of God, and the power that be ordained of Yahweh by Shamya." So the powers that are ordained, your police forces, even your government agencies that you may not really like very much, your your MI5, your Infogard, whatever agency you want to call it, your CIA, they've been put in power. As much as you may not favor them, all right? They're still in power. But the powers that be ordained of God, so they're ordained by God, the Heavenly Father. "Whoso therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of God." So if you're resisting the power, therefore, guess what? You're resisting the ordinance of the Heavenly Father, because He set these powers up. So you can't look at the police and say, "Well, I'm a sovereign, I'm a so-called sovereign," because I've heard that many times. common law. It is important. You can learn some common law. That's good because you know certain rights, but you don't want to be approachable. I'm an Israelite, and because I'm an Israelite, I'm a Hebrew. I don't have to listen to anything no police officer says. I can drive with my seatbelt off, and I can say, nah, it doesn't work like that. Because now if anything happens, you just brought that upon yourself. You see? Right? Our officer tells you to stop. You stop. Right? Can I get your name? You give him your name. But there's, remember, there's certain laws as well. There's certain rights that you have. But you want to operate in the spirit of meekness. So if you get caught up with law enforcement, they have no choice but to say, you know what, this is a somewhat upstanding citizen. He conducts himself well. We're not going to trouble him. Listen, something is wrong because, yeah, if I have been put on a target list, police officers, they drive past me every other day. Sometimes they ask me if I'm okay, how you doing, and all that. So if that's going on, you got to ask yourself, well, there's something that's not right. There's some form of corruption that's going on. Because if there was a problem, you would have been arrested a long time ago. So that this way comes setups and slander and that. Unless they don't like what you're doing and they want to get you off the street. See, there's more to it than that. There's more to it. But you got to put the pieces together. I don't think it's anything evil or wicked or nothing like that you've done. I believe it's sometimes it can come down to potential or a so-called, as they say, a potential risk. This can lead to worse things. So you got to look at it from all sides, all angles. We're going to shut off soon. And it says, Baba Kushar, we're still on Romans 13 and 3, 2. And whosoever there resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of God. So if you resist the powers that be, you're resisting the ordinance because they were set up by the Heavenly Father for a certain time. Even though we know the structure is somewhat satanic, but it was still set up for Satan to rule for a certain time. Right? And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. You're going to make your situation so much harder now. Right? For rulers are not a terror to good works. The rulers, right? Whether it's the elites, whether it's politicians, they're not rulers to what? To good works if you're doing the right thing. Right? Bro, you got in the scriptures where you had politicians that were backing Paul up. Paul, read up upon Felix. We're going to go into them accounts another time. You had accounts where certain men of the Lord, they were in somewhat favor with the politicians and so forth. Okay? And it says, but to evil if you're doing the wrong thing. If you're doing something that's evil. That's when you should be scared. When you hear a police siren. That's when you should be scared. Not if you're doing the right thing. If you're doing the wrong thing. Okay? And it says, Baba Kushar, check this out. But to that evil, but thou then, hold on, would I then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. Do the right thing. Then you have praise of the same. I've had it. I've had police officers come to me, and I've ended up breaking down the 12 tribe site and showing them posters and all that. And some of them are mesmerized. See, you don't want to be causing trouble, right? Oh, we need to keep an eye on this lad. You don't want that, right? We're going to shut off soon. For they are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. For he is a minister of God to thee for good, but if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. See? For he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is a minister of God and avenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. So, yeah. You have some trigger happy, and you have some people within the forces, right? They're ready to go. They're ready to, you know what I'm saying? Because look how our people conduct themselves as well. But they're not a terror unto those with good works that are doing the right thing. Okay? It's to those that are doing evil. Right? Me, I don't get nervous when I see police officers. I don't get nervous. No, when I was in the world, I would, because you were doing wrong. I don't get nervous at all, because you know you're not going around doing all types of evil, right? For he beareth not the sword in vain, for he is a minister of God and a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. So if you're doing evil, the forces of wickedness, they're out here to execute their evil upon you. Esau is the whipping stick of the Heavenly Father. A lot of people are like, oh, the so-called white man, oh, they're evil and Esau's evil. Esau is the sword of the Lord. So when you go off, you get chastised by him. And that's all. Right? And it says, Baba Kishar, wherefore you must needs be subjects, not only for wrath. Right, this is heavy. Not only for wrath. So you might get put on a government list accidentally. Sorry, we got it wrong. Now, you don't know, there may be a politician that has, or whoever, but this is going to take someone that has money. So, you know what, take him back off now. But you're still going to be watched, because we're always going to be watched. But that's all it takes, is someone to vouch for you that knows someone in high positions. Right? I've made a couple of phone calls, and one guy, he has a lot of money, but he says, look, mate, I can't do anything with this situation because, you know, but you don't know, someone could, you know, come in for you. Right? And it says, Baba Kishar, check this out. Wherefore this cause pay, oh, I'm moving too fast. Wherefore you must be needs subjects, not only to wrath, but also for a good conscience. So we're also going to be subject to wrath. Yeah, wrath. Some of you are going to get arrested. Some of you are going to be, some of you are going to have to go to court. Yes. But it's still for wrath's sake. It's still to glorify God. Right? Not only for wrath, but a conscience, a good conscience. For this cause pay ye tribute also, for they are God's ministers. Okay? Attending continually upon this very thing. Okay? Render therefore all to their Jews, tribute to whom tribute is due, which we read in Matthews, right? You give unto those that empower what belongs to them. Custom to who custom, fair to whom fair, honor to whom honor. So I'm gonna shut off on this lesson, and I do want to go further in, but the longer these videos go, the longer it takes to upload. But I don't know, I may do another lesson concerning this, but yeah, someone put you on some type of government watch list where you got whole cities looking at you a certain way, coming up against you. That has to do with people that are in power, mayors, right, and so forth. And the particular town I'm in, I'm not gonna say his name. You have two mayors, right, within this particular town. One mayor doesn't really engage with people. I know there's one mayor that engages with people, and there's another mayor, he doesn't really engage with people. So you may want to look at those that are within certain jurisdictions and see if not they never put you on, because they might have put you on it. And guess what? This is all it takes. This is all it takes. All it takes is somewhat, you may say something that doesn't work in a politician's favor, and they may see that as a disagreement. That's all it takes for you to get put on this. That's all it takes. Example. Say if you have a mayor, right? And you know when they send them census, is it a census thing off? Or vote for me, right? And you refuse to vote. Say if you don't vote. All it takes, depending on the individual, because remember, people in power, they have very narcissistic personalities. All it takes is, well, this guy, he's not voting for me, put him on a list. Put him on a list. That's all it takes. So I'm just covering all grounds to let you brothers know, like, there's depths to it. Okay? That's all it takes. Alright? So Lord willing, right? And one thing I want to say as well, if you're a mayor or whatever, you have links to contracting and buildings, and so you run all that. You can run all that. You have the power to do that. You have the influence to do that. right? So I believe there needs to be a thorough investigation, not just concerning me, but others as well, because they also send private. They send private investigators. They send all these people our way anyway. But I think this needs to be more in depth, much more in depth. So once it's done, once you can come up with an idea of what needs to happen, therefore you can get me off the list and things can go back to normal, somewhat normal. So I'm going to shut off on this lesson, and Lord willing, this was edifying to those that were listening. Shalom.